I don't know if you've seen this or not, this article from Time Magazine. Let me read it to you. But before I do, I want to give you a heads up. I have a powerful message for you tonight. Hope you stay tuned. New polling shows how much global support ISIS-Ra has lost. New data shared with Time from the business intelligence company Morning Consult shows that support for ISIS-Ra around the world has dropped significantly since the war in Gaza began. And for those who haven't been here since last summer, the summer of 23, we were expecting this from reading the word. We knew that it was coming. We knew that the support for it would vanish, except for those being slaughtered, which both sides will. But we knew the world would lose its idea of ISIS-Ra. And we knew that her nakedness and her shame was going to be exposed. Net favorability, the percentage of people viewing ISIS-Ra positively after subtracting the percentage viewing it negatively, dropped globally by an average of 18.5 percentage points between September and December, decreasing it in 42 out of the 43 countries polled. And if you think those numbers are just random and by chance, think again. China, South Africa, Brazil, and several other countries in Latin America all went from viewing ISIS-Ra positively to negatively. And many rich countries that already had negative views of ISIS-Ra, including Japan, South Korea, and the UK, saw steep declines. Net favorability in Japan went from negative 39.9 to negative 62. In South Korea, from negative 5.5 to negative 47.8. And in the UK, from negative 17.1 to negative 29.8. The data shows just how tough of a road ISIS-Ra has right now in the international community, says Sonnet Frisbee, deputy head of political intelligence at Morning Consult. The war began on October 7th when Hamas massacred some 1,200 of those guys, the imposters, and took 240 hostage. Like I said, the numbers aren't random. If you add 240 to 1,200, you got 1,440, yeah. And it's not, if you think this is all just random, this is the Most High extending that mercy out to you. You think it's just by chance that there was 240 hostages and that they put that ISIS-Ra's retaliation has resulted in the reported deaths of at least 2,400 Palestinians? It's not by chance. And look how they said that Hamas massacred some 1,200 ISIS-Ra. And if you haven't been under a rock, if you've actually been searching to see what the truth is about that whole deal, you'll know that the majority of those 1,200 were killed by the IDF. They admitted it. And remember in the beginning when they said they were putting babies in ovens and baking them and ripping them out of pregnant women's bellies and stuff? That's all been debunked and proven to be false. That was just propaganda in order to get these people who don't read the word, who don't really love and esteem the Most High with their heart but with their lips, to get them to pledge their support to this abomination. ISIS-Rael's retaliation has resulted in the reported deaths of at least 24,000 Palestinians. And see, look, when it says what Hamas did, it was massacred. But when it talks about what ISIS-Rael did, it resulted in that many. Yeah, it resulted in the smashing that's going on, sure. Most of them, women and children. Last week, the International Criminal Court took up South Africa's case charging ISIS-Rael with committing genocidal acts in Gaza. Way to go, SA. And another thing I want to tell you, don't buy into either side of this. If you think for a second that Hamas isn't just a tool being used by Netanyahu and them and the enemy, you're wrong. Why do you think it is they haven't really taken out any of those top Hamas quote-unquote militants? Because they don't want to take them out, because as long as they're there, they have the excuse to keep on smashing. If they would take them out, they'd have to stop smashing. And the smashing is exactly what they want. They say it out of their own mouth. Maybe you've been under a rock and you haven't seen Netanyahu saying that that's exactly what they want to do. And I mean, it should be, anyone who would argue that point is just silly. Because Morning Consult conducts opt-in online surveys every day. Analysis where we're able to see how public opinion in various countries shifted in the aftermath of October 7th attacks. Their surveys are conducted in 43 different countries on all 6 continents and used to anticipate market trends for their clients. The sample size of the survey varies in different countries, ranging from 300 to 6,000 responses over the course of a month. And like I said, these numbers aren't random. Remember that 42 years a hired man is to work, and on the 43rd, at the end of the 42 years, he is to be released. Yasharal, the real children of the Most High, they were exiled from their home for 430 years. That goldenrod that made its way around America, that returned, it said. It started years ago in Utah, and then it went on tour, and it's 43 feet long. It returned to Utah last fall, like right around September, I believe. The U.S. remains the only rich country that still had net positive views of ISIS-Rael. Net favorability dropped just 2.2 percentage points from a net favorability of 18.2 to a net favorability of 16 from September to December. And I'll tell you why. We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about why, you should understand why the population of America is supporting it, because there's a lot of Christians, there's a lot of people who believe that that's the Holy Land and the holy people. But there's another clue that you might not be aware of that I'm going to show you here in just a few minutes. That will show you why it is America was the only country besides third world countries, the only power in the world to veto the UN's vote on a ceasefire to stop the smashing of the poor little babies and stuff over there that are getting operated on tables with no pain medicine. It's just disgusting. And that this is how you know this is the end, because the people, the Christians, especially here in America, they'll stand by those and give their unwavering pledge to ISIS-Rael, regardless of how obvious of an abomination those people are over there and that entity. They don't care, because they don't want to be wrong, because their pride prevents them from swallowing it and just saying, you know what, Something ain't right with those guys over there. This just ain't right. This does seem like an abomination. They'll never do it because they're going down with that ship. They love it. Washington's support for ISIS-Rael carries a cost in global public opinion. Yeah, it's going down with it. This is the cause. This is going to be the nail in the coffin, the last one that's going to bring about an all-out blitz. However, particularly in Arab countries, the surveys show. In Egypt, the U.S. went from having a positive favorability of 41.1 to a negative favorability of negative 14.9 from September to December. In Saudi Arabia, the U.S. saw a similar trend, dropping from a positive favorability of 12.2 to a negative 10.5 over that same period. Frisbee says that the shift will make it difficult to Saudi Arabia to continue cooperating with ISIS-Rael and pursuing a planned normalization deal brokered by the U.S. A lot of cooperation between Gulf leaders and ISIS-Rael has been done, with Gulf leaders carefully messaging to their domestic populations and tiptoeing around public opinion. I think this gives this a lot less space to do that, Frisbee says. You think? Look down there at the bottom. It says, for Anthony Blinken, the war in Gaza is a test to U.S. And let me tell you, he's got no idea how big of a test to the people it is. And you best choose your side and choose wisely and choose right now. Wait till you see this powerful message I have to give to you. Stay tuned. Who knows how long you'll have the luxury of hearing such a powerful message. We read 65 of Isaiah last night. 66, the last chapter. Let's get it. Thus said Yahuwah, the heavens are my throne, and the earth is my footstool. Where is this house that you build for me? And where is this place of my rest? And all these my hand has made, and all these that exist, declares Yahuwah. Yet to such a one I look, on him who is poor and bruised of spirit, and who trembles at my word. But whoever slays the bull strikes a man. I want to say wink, wink, but it's time to wakey, wakey, and stop eating the blood with meat. Stop desiring and having a bloodlust like a vampire for meat. Whoever slaughters the lamb breaks a dog's neck. Whoever brings a grain offering, pig's blood. Whoever brings their offering and their tithing every week to these abominable Sunday churches, any kind of organization teaching falsehood, leading astray and away from the Most High, you might as well be guzzling pig's blood. Whoever burns incense blesses an idol. Indeed, they have chosen their own ways. Yes, they have. And their being delights in their abominations. I shall also choose their punishments and bring their fears on them, because I called, but no one answered. I spoke, and they did not hear, and they did evil before my eyes and chose what was displeasing to me. Hear the word of Yahuwah, you who tremble at his word. The other people who don't tremble, they're not going to hear it, because it conflicts with their abominations. And they're going to go down with that ship, aren't they? Your brothers who hate you, who cast you out for my name's sake, said, let Yahuwah be esteemed. Yeah, go ahead, Dottie. Give all esteem. Even though we laugh about it, but it's good that he gives all esteem, even though he needs to quit, he needs to take it down a notch. No, I need to crank it up all the way until it blows your eardrums. That's what I need to do. And that's what we're going to do, baby. Let Yahuwah be esteemed so that we see your joy, but they are put to shame. Yeah, I see it every day. A roaring sound from the city, a voice from the Hakal, the voice of Yahuwah repaying his enemies. That's what you're hearing. That's what you've been hearing. It's my voice coming through the speaker. But it's his word and it's his esteem that you hear. So it is his voice. And it's coming. It's roaring, been roaring. Abba willing, it's going to continue to sound from the city, from the Hakal. Before she labored, she gave birth. Before a pain came to her, she was delivered of a male child. That's exactly what happened. And I witnessed it firsthand. Who has heard the like of this? Have you heard the like of this? You have, haven't you? Who has seen the like of these? Is a land brought forth in one day? Is a nation born at once? For as soon as Sion labored, she gave birth to her children. Yes. The day I started to see it was when I first arrived, and I started to esteem it and share it with y'all, and it began to give birth that day. Have you ever seen anything like that? You haven't, have you? Shall I bring to birth and not give delivery, says Yahuwah? So, for any of you who's been watching me and listening, if you think that this ain't gonna happen, you're high off your ass. This is going down according to plan. His word does not return unto him void. It will be established. It will proceed. Just like we've been saying, and just like it's been proceeding. Shall I give delivery? Or shall I who give delivery restrain birth? Said your mighty Most High. Rejoice with Jerusalem. That's what I'm calling all y'all to do. If you are who you say you are, if you are Yasharal, well, rejoice with Jerusalem. Don't be left behind. And be glad with her, all you who love her. Rejoice greatly with her, all you who mourn for her. Who out there fits in that category? Are you glad with her? Do you love her? Have you been mourning for her? Because if not, you're not who you say you are. And I take no joy in saying that. I say it in order to ignite those things for her in you, so that you feed and shall be satisfied with the breast of her comforts, satisfaction guaranteed, so that you drink deeply and shall delight yourselves in her overflowing esteem. You've never seen anything like this. You've never been you ain't even been satisfied until you start sucking from the teat of Jerusalem. Don't believe me? Try it one time and you'll see. For thus said Yahuwah, see, I am extending peace to her like a river, and the esteem of the nations like a flowing stream. That's that stream that flows out from the throne, just like in Ezekiel, just like in Revelations. And it's true. I've witnessed it with my own eyes. I've touched it and tasted it. And you shall feed, you shall be carried on the side and be fondled on her knees. As one whom his mother comforts, so I comfort you. And in Jerusalem you are comforted. Period. Nowhere else. There's nothing else or anywhere else where you're going to find comfort. You may feel comforted right now, but it's a false comfort. You're being lulled to death. Set your heart on Jerusalem and be comforted in the only way that you can. And you shall see, and your heart shall rejoice, and your bones flourish as tender grass. And the hand of Yahuwah shall be known to his servants. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I've been telling you. I've seen it and touched it. That's what I'm talking about. Now I know. Now I know who the set apart one of Jacob is. I didn't know before. Now I know. I thought I did. I had that false sense of comfort too. And it was false. Now looking back, it was false. And if I would have stayed into that, I would have been dead eventually. I was dead. Now I've been made alive. And if you don't believe it, try it one time. Come test it. Try it out. Take her for a spin and let me know how she feels. You've never been satisfied like you will when you set your heart on Jerusalem. And his displeasure to his enemies. For look, Yahuwah comes with fire and with his chariots like a whirlwind to render his displeasure with burning and his rebuke with flames of fire. Anywhere outside of Jerusalem, that's what he's talking about. It's like the eye of the storm. That's why in the Marvel stories it's called the Eye of Agamemnon, or in Thundercats it's called the Eye of Thundera. And you know, I shared that short here a few months back, or a month back, of that famous rabbi that has tons of followers saying the same exact thing. He said they will tell you that in the end, anyone standing physically outside of Jerusalem is going to be destroyed. But they think it's Jerusalem. And that's just the Most High. He's drove them mad. And they think they're going to find that reward through unrighteousness and bloodshed and abomination. They're dead wrong. For by fire and by his sword, his word, Yahuwah shall judge all flesh. There you go. The majority of quote unquote believers, they ain't even thinking about our comely home, our sanctuary. They're being destroyed. The word is destroying them. They pretend to be servants of his, but the proof's in the pudding, and the pudding is right out on Front Street for all to see if you really want to look. And you should start looking if you're not in Jerusalem, because if you do, you'll understand the urgency and the need for you to quickly get here. And the slain of Yahuwah shall be many. Yes, it's going to be many. Those who set themselves apart and cleanse themselves at the gardens after one in the midst. There you go. They cleanse themselves with those people, with everything that's come from there, which is an abomination. And they still eat flesh of pigs, and the abomination and the mouse are snatched away together, declares Yahuwah. Why do you think he said the mouse? You should understand, in prison, if you don't go out on the yard, they'll call you a house mouse. And it won't be long before everyone starts to take note. And it won't be long until you'll wish you would have went out of the house. You'll wish you'd never heard those words, house mouse. Anyone who isn't in Jerusalem is living in that abominable house. And you're going to be snatched away together, declares Yahuwah. That's why you need to set your heart on her now and return. And I, because of their works and their imaginations, am coming to gather all nations and tongues. And they shall come and see my esteem. All of it. And I shall set a sign among them, and shall send some of those who escape to the nations. Tarshish and Pul and Lud, who draw the bow, and Tubal and Yawan, the coastlands afar off, who have not heard my report nor seen my esteem. And they shall declare my esteem among the nations. And they shall bring all your brothers as an offering to Yahuwah out of all the nations. Is that happening over there in Jerusalem? Is the world discussing the esteem of Yahuwah over there? No, we just read the world's opening its eyes to what an abomination that place is. The only ones who refuse to see, they're the first in line. I can tell you that right now. Who's first? The cowards and the untrustworthy, the hypocrites. They shall bring all your brothers as an offering to Yahuwah out of all the nations, on horses and in chariots and in litters, on mules and on camels, to my set apart mountain Jerusalem, declares Yahuwah, as the children of Yasharal bring an offering in a clean vessel into the house of Yahuwah. When you come, that's an offering in a clean vessel. If you ain't longing and lamenting the humiliation of Jerusalem and your inheritance, you're not a clean vessel. The only way your sin, your transgression will be covered is in returning and rest. And from them too I shall take for priests, for Levites, declares Yahuwah. For as the new heavens and the new earth that I make stand before me, there you go. They are already here. They're not up in space, and he's going to bring them down. They're here. And he's creating them. The male child's been delivered. So your seed and your name shall stand. And it shall be that from new moon to new moon and from Shabbat to Shabbat, all flesh shall come to worship before me, declares Yahuwah, and they shall go forth and look upon the corpses of the men who have transgressed against me. For their worm shall not die and their fire not be quenched, and they shall be repulsive to all flesh. And it's already looking that way. I already see it. It's repulsive. Especially these pretenders who want everyone and you to think that they're servants, but they're not serving anyone except their own greedy gain. Now, 67 or 66 is the last chapter in Isaiah. So I thought we would go to Psalms 67 because 6 times 7 is 42. And if you think that there's no significance in thinking about 6 times 7 equaling 42 or 7 times 6. If you think there's no significance in the number 67 and 76 right now, take a look around. Go through some news articles. Watch the news. Keep your eye out on it. There's quite a few numbers, but 67, 76, 42, and 24, they're huge. And you best pay attention. And right here, when we get to reading this is where this powerful message, what I've said, just telling you that you need to come home and that Yerushalayim is the only place for your comfort. Just that right there is already a groundbreaking, monumental, powerful, life-saving message. But I haven't got to the good part yet. And I mean, how's it getting any better? Verse 1, the mighty Most High does favor us and bless us. Cause his face to shine upon us, Salah. For your way to be known on earth, your deliverance among all nations. That's what you're hearing. Let the peoples praise you, O my mighty Most High. Let all the peoples praise you. For real, for real. Let the nations be glad and sing for joy. For you judge the peoples uprightly and lead the nations on earth. Salah. Let the peoples praise you, O my mighty Most High. Let all the peoples praise you. The what? The earth shall give her increase. The mighty Most High, our own magnificent mighty Most High, blesses us. The mighty Most High blesses us, and all the ends of the earth fear him. Now let's hit 76. Boom. In Yehuda, Utah, the Most High is known. His name is great in Yasharal. And his booth is in Salem. Been there. Amazing. One of the first places I've stopped, and I found so much truth there. I put it on the video here about the wells and everything that the Spanish found, and that the Native Americans said that there once was a great city there before they got here. The Native Americans, the Utes or whatever that were there. Yeah. I pulled up to a little pond and found a monument sitting there and read the plaque on it. And from there, I was led to so much. And that was the first day of me being here and seeing it in my eyes. And I had no idea that that's where I had drove to. I didn't know that I was in Yerushalayim, but I was. And now it's, like I said, the satisfaction, it can't be measured. His booth is in Salem, and his dwelling place in Sion. There he broke the arrows of the bow, the shield and the sword and the battle axe, Salah. You are resplendent. And that's what he did for me. That's when it started to happen. That's when those arrows and the bow and the shield broke. When I started to see that. It was nanite for the enemy. You are resplendent, more excellent than mountains of prey. The stout-hearted have been stripped. They slept their sleep, and none of the mighty men have found their hands. All these people, you see it every day. People discussing, letting the proof come out their mouth, and they don't even realize it. I saw a famous pastor that's on YouTube that last night talk about these two, what did he call them? He said these two species of apocalyptic, how do you say that? Cadens, those locust things where they leave their shell on the tree. These two species, he said, he did a whole video of it last night. He said that at the time of the eclipse in April on 4/8, that there's going to be these two species of cadens at apocalyptic proportions, he said, that are going to be there. And he said it. He said the words Little Egypt. He mentioned the Salukis, the dogs. He mentioned Cairo. He mentioned all that, and he still is unaware that that's Egypt. He can't figure it out. I've heard other people talk about it, and it's sad to say, but they're going to find out when it's too late. That's how the word is judging them. At your rebuke, O my Most High of Jacob, both rider and horse lay stunned. Just what I was talking about. That guy, he lay stunned. He don't know it. They don't have a clue. They're dumbfounded and ain't got a clue. And the reward, something beyond measure, so amazing, so magnificent, is right there on their lap. And they ain't got a clue because of their greedy gain. Their pride. And they don't have a clue. That's why the Messiah told us that on that day they're going to say, Lord, Lord, didn't we? They're going to gnaw and gnash their teeth, because when they realize that it was sitting in their lap, and we've read it in the word, they're going to make excuses and say, well, we didn't know that. And he's going to say, yeah, that's how the word judges. He's going to say, yes, you did. You didn't tremble at it, though. You didn't tremble at my word like you should have. No, you trembled at the dollar bills, y'all. That's what you wanted. You wanted people to smash the thumbs up and the likes and and subscribe and all that stuff. That's all you cared about. You didn't praise Jerusalem. You praised the image of the beast. What a day of shame and sorrow that's going to be. If I wasn't so beyond myself, full of joy, it'd break my heart. But this satisfaction, it's overwhelming when it comes to any pain or sorrow. My grins, it's stuck to my ears. You are to be feared, and who would stand in your presence when you are displeased? From heaven you shall cause judgment to be heard. The earth shall fear and shall be still. When the mighty Most High arises to right ruling, to save all the meek of the earth, Salah. For the wrath of mankind praises you. With the remainder of wrath you gird yourself. Make vows to Yahuwah your mighty Most High, and pay them. Smashing the like button and the subscribe, that's not paying a vow. You ain't paying you're paying your mortgage and your light bill and your car note and your fat ass. That's what you're paying. Get in the car, pull it out of park, slam it into low, and stomp its ever-loving guts out. Make that vow. Come home. Actually, be a doer of the word. Don't just sit and act like advertising for gold coin companies and stuff is working for the Most High. You're stunned. You're dumbfounded, and you ain't got a clue. You got to make a vow and pay them to the Most High. You actually have to follow the Lamb wherever he leads you. You ain't followed him. You've refused it, laughed about it, mocked it. You think you know best. And it's a sick imagination that you have. It's an abomination. Let all who are around him bring presents to the one to be feared. Looking into this, coming here, it's the greatest gift you could possibly give. Being willing to be led and leave the world behind. To go home, to serve the Most High like you say you do. He cuts off the spirit of leaders. He is awesome to the sovereigns of the earth. My voice is to the mighty Most High, and I cry. My voice is to the mighty Most High, and he listened to me. In the day of my distress, I sought Yahuwah. My hand was stretched out in the night, and it did not cease. My being refused to be comforted. I knew, I was just itching. I knew something wasn't right. I knew I had to drive west. I just knew that there was something more to life than the way I was living it, than what anywhere else had to offer. I just knew that there was an actual shadow under his wing that I had to get to. I didn't know where it was. He led me by his mighty right hand. And here I am. And it was the greatest decision that maybe anyone in this generation has ever made. I remembered the mighty Most High and groaned. I complained and my spirit grew faint, Salah. You ceased the watches of my eyes. I was too troubled to speak. I have thought about the days of old, the years long past. I remembered my song in the night. I meditate within my heart, and my spirit searches diligently. Diligently, not nonchalantly, not half-assly, diligently. Would Yahuwah reject forever and never again be pleased? Has his loving commitment ceased forever? Has the promise failed for all generations? The way the world, according to the world, it has, but it hasn't. It still stands. Has the mighty Most High forgotten to show favor? Has he shut up his compassions in displeasure, Salah? And I said, this is my grief, that the right hand of the Most High has changed. I remember the deeds of Yah, for I remembered your wonders of old. Your wonders of old. And I shall meditate on all your work and talk of your deeds. Here I am. Your way, O my Most High, is in set apartness. Who is great? Who is a great, mighty one like my mighty Most High? You are the mighty one who does wonders. You have made known your strength among the peoples. By your arm you have redeemed your people, the sons of Jacob and Joseph, Salah. The waters saw you, O my Most High. The waters saw you. They were afraid. The depths also trembled. That's not literal. All these lies out here in the earth that these people are professing, they tremble. The clouds poured out water, the heavens rumbled. Also your arrows flashed back and forth. The voice of your thunder rolled along. Lightnings lit up the world. The earth trembled and shook. Your way was in the sea, and your path in the great waters, and your footsteps were not known. You did lead your people like a flock by the hand of Moshe and Aaron. Last chapter, 78. Which is so significant. And this is where this powerful message lies. 78, 7 times 8 is 56, which is huge. That little star they have on their flag, it's a hexagram, in case you didn't know. And according to these satanic people who follow their own way, and they have the world following after that same way, whether they know it or not, they they perform like magic, and they use like hexagrams as sigils, and they number them. And the 56th hexagram is known as the sojourner, the stranger, the wanderer. I've shown it right here on this video. Go look it up. And you'll see exactly what's going on. I showed you that seal. The seal you've seen before. I think it's the presidential seal, where the eagle has the 13 arrows in one talon and the olive branch in the other. Well, right above its head, it has the same star that's on that flag. I was thinking earlier, like, how many territories and states are there that does the U.S. own altogether? And it was 55. I circled it for you. Israel, it's just another territory. They're all the same. It's all one entity. That's why that star's up there. That's why that hexagram's on their seal, which would make it the 56th piece of property that entity owns. Go look in the news. Look around. You'll start seeing 78 and 87 and 56 and 65. Just like you will 24 and 42. 76 and 67. It's no joke. This is real. It's just more signs. Abba's extending his mercy out so far. He doesn't want anyone to perish. Does he not? No. He's trying to wake you up. That way, if you happen to see an article or see a number, maybe you'll start, like I did, and start wondering, like, why are all these numbers the same? Why do they keep showing them same numbers? Why, when they show a ship, it's number 78 every time, or 718, or, you know? And it's for a reason. Go look. Go back to my videos. I've shown plenty of it, and I'm sure we ain't done. But I'm getting to the point to think that the time, it's short, so you might not have too much long left. But this powerful message that I have for you right here, you're going to get it in 78, and then I'm out. Think of this as the only motivation that anyone needs to hear. And it's the motivation to get you to do what we all should be doing and been doing. There is nothing else. If you want to live, if you don't want to gnaw and gnash your teeth, you're gonna take this challenge, you're gonna take this motivation, and you're gonna act wisely. You're going to perish. My people, give ear to my Torah. Incline your ears to the words of my mouth. Tremble at them. I open my mouth in a parable. I utter riddles of old. Don't forget it. Which we have heard and known, for our fathers have related them to us. Our fathers, Isaiah, David, Aaron, Moses, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Joseph, Joshua. Those are our fathers. If you belong to the family, they related them. We're fortunate enough to have access to these words that came out the mouth of Abba Yahuwah, the Most High, our wonderful Creator. Getting on your face and letting everyone know that you give all praise, all honor, all glory, and all esteem to Him and Him alone. It's not that much to ask. It should be all you want to do. We do not hide them from their children, relating to the generation to come the praises of Yahuwah and His strength and His wonders which He has done. When this is all over, and maybe your children, when they're asking, Well, why didn't you relate these to us? What are you going to say? I mean, most people that'll hear this, they are probably people that will say we're in the end times. Well, what are you doing about it? What are you doing about it? What else is there to do but to relate his word and praise him and give him all esteem? For he raised a witness in Jacob and set a Torah in Yasharal, which he commanded our fathers to teach them to their children. The wonders. What's being taught to children now? They're not being taught that the wonders of old, that the amazing things the Most High did before when he led them out of Egypt and he split the waters and guided them back to their promised land. That's not being related to the children. They might know the story, but the fact that happened for a reason, and we need to understand why it happened, and we need to do accordingly. That's not being related. What's being related to the children? Oh, just be the best little boy or girl you can be, and one day you'll be twinkled up into the sky like pixie dust, and everything's going to be fine. All those people that are saying, Lord, Lord, didn't we do this? Are their children going to be tugging on their garment, saying, Dad, Mom, well, what's going on? Why are we dying? Why are we being destroyed? You had the word, and it was in there. The instructions on what we had to do was in there, but 7 nights a week, 365 nights a year, you watched NCIS or some pastor on YouTube, and you just read your scripture and maybe read a few verses here and there and took a couple notes and ran a highlighter across the page. But you weren't thoroughly instructing us on what we are to do. And now we're going to be destroyed. You told me that I had to accept Hail Zeus into my heart and Savior, and never told me what that really meant. You just put your hand on my head and prayed over me and baptized me, but never knew what none of that even meant. But the word was right there that would have told you what it all meant, and you never took the time to prepare us. Yeah, no wonder teeth is going to get grinded into a fine powder. That it might be known to a generation to come, to children who would be born, to rise up and relate them to their children, and place their trust in the mighty Most High, and not forget the works of our mighty one, but watch over his commands, and not be like their fathers, a stubborn and rebellious generation, a generation which did not prepare its heart, whose spirit was not steadfast to El. If you can't look to Jerusalem, if you can't put it into low and step on it, what have you prepared yourself for, and those who depend on you? If you were on a football team or you were a boxer, whatever, and you had a big fight coming up, and everybody knew, yeah, he's got this big fight coming. If you weren't in the gym giving it all you have to get prepared for what is about to take place, when you get up there and you get your ass whooped, we're all going to see the lack of preparation that was done. What else is there to do? What else are you making time to do? There is nothing else. If all the word that you read and you profess, if you're not willing to actually do it, what are you doing? You probably say your own self, you must pick up your stake. Well, let's see it. Where's the stake? Where is it? You couldn't stop eating blood with the meat for a couple days, let alone actually tightening your bootstraps up and actually walking to Jerusalem. You didn't even give it no time or thought. Your children are depending on you. There's people depending on you. Are you having them idolize and fantasize over the image of the beast? Do you have the mark of the beast on you? Because anyone who isn't in Jerusalem come that day, if you're not standing on Mount Zion, you have that stain on you. And I don't take joy in saying that. Trust me. I'm saying what I'm saying because I love you and I want you to prepare your heart and be steadfast towards the Most High. Be ready, suited and booted for that time, for that day. The children of Ephraim, armed bowmen, turned back in the day of battle. All these pastors, all these people who talk a big game, and they've went to Bible college, Rhema Bible college, all these things. Now that and they've read and talked about the last days their whole life, and now that they're here, well, where are they? They're plugging for noble gold and all this nonsense. They're not teaching their children about the wonders of old, about what the Most High did before, and that we have to do pretty much the same thing. They're turned back in the day of battle. Their tails are tucked between their legs, and all we see is those Nikes in the day of battle. They did not guard the covenant of the Most High, and they refuse to walk in His Torah. What covenant? They think they're covenant keepers, but they get to keep that covenant in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Newsflash, you're dead wrong. You're dead wrong. You have to come to Jerusalem and bow yourself. Offer yourself and leave the world behind. You have to. Who's going to actually do it? Who's going to get their ass up off the couch this week and start giving praise and esteem to the Most High and Jerusalem and do what's right? They forgot His deeds and His wonders which He had shown them. He did wonders in the sight of their fathers in the land of Egypt, Mitzrayim, in the field of Soan. He split the sea and caused them to pass through, and He made the waters stand up like a heap, and led them with the cloud by day and all the night with a light of fire. He split the rocks in the wilderness and made them drink as from the great depths, and brought forth streams from the rock and caused waters to come down as rivers. Yet they sinned still more against Him to rebel against the Most High in the desert. And they tried the Mighty One in their heart by asking food according to their desire. According to their desire. Well, we just want to get twinkled up out of here. No, we don't have to boil the meat. No, we can eat the Passover lamb wherever we want. We ain't got to roast it and be in Jerusalem. And well, we just want what we desire. But we just want to do it our way. That's the mark of the beast. And they spoke against the Mighty Most High. They said, is the Mighty Most High able to set a table in the wilderness? You just want me to get in the car and drive? Are you crazy? I got bills to pay. I can't just leave this behind. Duh. Yeah, obviously not. What will we eat? What will we wear? How are we going to work? Where are we going to live? It's all being exposed, my friends. And you either stand on what you've been preaching all this time, or it's bye-bye for you. You're going to have to make a move. You can't stay and be complacent where you are. Because what that tells everybody, it tells the Most High that you don't trust him. You ain't confident and faithful to know that he will prepare a table, that he's got you. Or are you giving all esteem right now, regardless of the pushback, of the flack, of what people are going to think of you? You can't even do that. This should be every day. I challenge anyone who hears this, starting tomorrow, however you got to do it. If you got to get a bullhorn and stand on the corner, if you got to make a YouTube channel, if you got to make a post with your voice, however it's got to be done, give all esteem to the Most High, starting today, right now, not let alone tomorrow, but tomorrow. I challenge you to start putting your money where your mouth is. Let's see those works. Let's see that faith. Because without works, you already know, it's dead. It's a facade. And you know, the sad thing is that most people don't even realize that, but you best wake up right now. Look, he struck the rock so that the waters gushed out and the streams overflowed. Is he able to give us bread also? Would he provide meat for his people? Would he even be able to do that? Do you see the lack of faith there is in believers today? The only thing that they're believing is that they're going to get a new car or a new house, or that their bills are going to be paid, or they're going to get that husband they've been praying for, or that wife. That's all they care about. They're not just willing to strap their sandals tight, put their cane in their hand, and start walking, and just to say, you know what, whatever happens to me, the Most High's got me. I have to do this for him. This is what I got to do. How many of you got the fortitude within you to do it? I pray that all of you find it, and find it quick. Therefore Yahuwah heard, and he was wroth. So a fire was kindled against Jacob, and displeasure also came up against Yasharal, because they did not believe in the Most High, neither did they trust in his deliverance. Yet he had commanded the clouds above and opened the doors of the heavens. That's what you're getting. Just like they got it back then, you're getting it right now. Look at all this truth he's given us that I've relayed right here on this channel and on All Honor. Look at it. Things that you never heard before, that you didn't expect, but they're still here. They're true facts. And he rained down manna on them to eat, and he gave them the grain of the heavens. That's what you've been getting. Men ate bread of the mighty. He sent them provisions to satisfaction. I've been telling you that it's beyond measure, the satisfaction. How many of you have went to see if I'm actually telling the truth or not? How many? And if any of you do, once you do, man, you're going to be so thankful you did. Just don't thank me. Thank the Most High, but come and give me a hug and let us relate and reason about all this together. Let us come join me in all this magnificent wonder and joy. He made an east wind blow in the heavens. Wink, wink. It'll blow you, it'll push you right on out here, out west, to your throne. And by his power, he brought in the south wind, just like I said, just like in Ezekiel, just like I've been telling you. Come around the south side, baby. That's where the water starts trickling out. And eventually it's up past your eyeballs. And you're swimming in the greatest truth that's ever been told. The greatest place that the world is, that you've ever seen, that any of us have ever seen. His throne. You can look at it. You can see his throne. Don't believe me? Come check it out. What do you got to lose? What do you got to gain? And he rained meat on them like the dust, and winged birds like the sand of the seas, and let them fall in the midst of his camp all around his dwelling place. So they ate and were completely satisfied, for he brought them what they desired. They had not turned away from their desire. Their food was still in their mouths. When the wrath of the Most High came against them, and he killed among their fat ones, and he struck down the choice ones of Yasharal, in spite of all this, they still sinned and did not believe in his wonders. So he ended their days in a breath, and their years in trouble. When he killed them, then they sought him. Lord, Lord. And they returned and did earnestly seek the mighty Most High then. And they remembered that the Most High was their rock, and the Most High, the mighty Most High, our mighty one, their Redeemer. But they flattered him with their mouth, and they lied to him with their tongue. You're his servant? Let's see it. Put your money where your mouth is. For their heart was not steadfast with him, and they were not true to his covenant. They don't care about their inherited land. Give me a bowl of oatmeal. But he, the compassionate one, pardoned crookedness and did not destroy them, and many a time he turned his displeasure away and did not stir up all his wrath. For he remembered that they were but flesh, a passing breath that does not return. How often they rebelled against him in the wilderness and grieved him in the desert. And again they tried the mighty one and provoked the set apart one of Yasharal. They did not remember his hand the day when he redeemed them from the adversary. How he worked his signs in Egypt, Mitzrayim, and his wonders in the field of Soan. He turned their rivers into blood, and they could not drink the streams. That's what's happening right now. If you refuse this message, that's what you're getting. That's what's happening. That stream, it's been made into blood to you. You refuse it, you can't drink it, and it's going to destroy you. He sent them swarms of flies, which devoured them. Flies. Remember how he said he calls for the flies? And frogs, which destroyed them, and gave their crops to the caterpillar, and their labor to the locust. He destroyed their vines with hail, and their sycamore trees with frost, and gave their beasts over to the hail, and their livestock to bolts of fire. He sent on them the burning of his displeasure, wrath and rage and distress, a deputation of messengers of evils. Deputation, that's a bunch of people doing your job for you. And they're just preaching you nothing but abominable evil. Because you ain't willing to do the job yourself that you say you do. He made a path for his displeasure. He did not spare their being from death, but gave their life over to the plague. And he struck all the firstborn in Egypt, the first fruits of strength in the tents of Ham, then made his own people go forth like sheep, and led them in the wilderness like a flock. And he led them on safely, and they did not fear, but the sea covered their enemies. And he brought them to the border of his set-apart place, this mountain which his mighty right hand had gained. And drove out nations before them, and allotted them a measured inheritance, and made the tribes of Yasharal dwell in their tents. It's what's been happening to me. Not literally, but might as well be. Yet they tried and rebelled against the Most High, the Most High, the mighty Most High, and did not guard his witnesses. But they turned back and acted treacherously like their fathers. They twisted like a treacherous bow. For they enraged him with their high places. Chattanooga, Tennessee. The church. Whatever. Everybody's got their own high places, don't they? Well, Yerushalayim is mine. The Most High is mine. Mount Zion. That's the only place of desire. And moved him to jealousy with their carved images. The image of jealousy, the image of the beast, Isis Ra'el. When the Most High heard this, he was wroth and greatly despised Yasharal, and he left the dwelling place of Shiloh, right by Mount Zion, right where this thing I've been telling you guys is so amazing that I'm not going to explain it, break it down on here. Shiloh, I'm there all the time. I haven't been there for about a month though, but since I've been here, I've routinely been right there in Shiloh and Sharon and Salem, all of it. The tent which he had set up among men, and he gave his strength into captivity and his comeliness into the hand of the adversary. That's what happened, the distresses. And he gave his people over to the sword, and he was wroth with his inheritance. His young men were consumed by fire, and his maidens were not praised. His priests fell by the sword, and their widows could not weep. Then Yahuwah awoke as one asleep, as a mighty man who shouts because of wine, and he struck his adversaries backwards. He put them to an everlasting reproach. Then he rejected the tent of Joseph, and did not choose the tribe of Ephraim, but chose the tribe of Yehuda, Mount Sion, which he loved. And he built his set-apart place like the heights, like the earth, he founded it forever. And he chose David, Daoud, his servant, and took him from the sheepfolds. He brought him in from tending the sheep, the ewes, to shepherd Jacob his people, and Yasharal his inheritance. And he shepherded them according to the integrity of his heart, and led them by the skill of his hands. Tat like that, baby. Come get you some. Get off the couch and get you some. Get out of the coffin and get some.